Buenos dias, everyone. It is my great pleasure to join for the second time the DEC Congress. As some of you know me, my name is Lior Arussy. I've been in the customer experience business for about 25 years. I started at HP, where I was responsible for online banking, which was a form of a new channel of customer experience. After that, with NICE, which introduced customer experience solutions for contact centers. And since 2003, where I founded Strativity, which became one of the global leaders in customer experience execution. All of my work focused not on understanding the customer, but understanding how to implement customer experience strategies in organizations. And for those of you who follow a little bit more, I've published about 8 books out there. And the last one is Next is Now. As I was asked to reflect on customer experience in the last 20 years and some of the prediction for the next couple of years, I actually wanted to start by reflecting on the last couple of months that we've all experienced. I know some of our friends in Madrid are probably right now with some new lockdown requirements, so we're feeling for you guys. But I want to start with a small story. In March of this year, Massimo Falsini, who lives in California, found himself not busy. He is an executive chef at the Rosewood Resort, and in March they shut down the resort because California went into lockdown. And Massimo decided that since he's a chef and he knows how to cook, and even though he doesn't have customers, he doesn't have guests, he still wants to do what he loves to do. And he used the resort's kitchen and started to cook food for homeless in Santa Barbara, California, then took a truck and started to distribute this food that he created for the homeless. In about 2 months, he distributed over 12,000 meals to homeless people in his area. He's not the only one. We've seen hotels that open their homes and the rooms for medical staff like doctors and nurses. We've seen a hotel in Perth that opened its doors for homeless people. We've seen Medtronics opening their specification for respirators and allowing other companies to produce them free of charge. We've seen insurance companies that are delaying payments or giving some refunds to their customers. We've seen banks who are delaying loans payments. And the question is, all this amazing goodness that we have seen during this awful COVID pandemic, where did it come from? It came from human beings. And I was reflecting, what were we, customer experience people, were busy with in the last couple of years? We were busy with educating our organizations about humanity, about compassion, about emotions, and connecting to the emotions of the customers. And I think if we're reflecting on COVID, we can definitely see the fingerprints of what we have done, probably affecting the mindset of our organizations by this outpour of humanity and compassion. On the other side, what are the organizations that actually did very well in the last couple of months? Those that had a digital transformation already in place and were able to connect online with their customers and provide their services or their products this way. So in many ways, I think that customer experience have made a tremendous impact. And those who been in this profession, all of you, I'd like to start actually by giving you a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause, because I think between the digital transformation and the humanity that we were bringing to our organizations, we've actually made a major impact on our ability to connect with our customers as human beings in the moment of need. So when I was reflecting on customer experience, I had to go back. This is, ladies and gentlemen, the first report that I could find, which was published in May 2000 about customer experience with the title Customer Experience. It was issued by the London-based Data Monitor. And here you are. Let's go on a little bit of a journey. When customer experience was launched somewhere in the 2000s, the main focus of it was really customer service, contact centers, optimizing service, finding ways to make the experience in contact center a little bit easier, more human to a degree, and so on and so forth. But I have to tell you, the main driver was cost. And I was preparing for this presentation. I remember a case that I had with an insurance company in the US, and I found out that their cancellation process on the phone was no questions asked. So if you call them and you want to cancel, they don't ask you questions, they just take your cancellation and they go ahead. And I asked them, why are you doing that? They said, well, we don't want to hassle the customer. And I said, well, I don't think so. I think you're actually trying to reduce the cost of the calls. And that's why you're doing that. And we put an interesting process in place, a process, by the way, that I do today with many of my clients as well. When a client calls in to cancel a service, we say to them, look, we do not want to change your mind, but we just want to ask you a simple question. Please explain to us why you reached this conclusion. And after doing a small test with that insurance company, we found out that 17%, 17% of the customers decided, after trying to explain to us why they're leaving, to stay with the company, not to move to another vendor, even though we did not offer them a lower price, which means they just needed to speak and rationalize their decision, and 17% of them actually came back. When I went back and I said, so how do you celebrate the success? They said, we had to cancel it because we were not allowed to speak too long on the phone and listen to them. The first generation was really about service optimization. Then we discovered that it's really beyond just customer service. That's when omnichannel started to evolve. With the evolution of chat and email and other capabilities, we started to look at the more complex journeys, and the focus of customer experience was really in the process redesign. Later on, we realized that this is not just about processes, and somewhere in 2012, we actually realized there is an emotional component here. There are employees who are activating those processes, and they need to be prepared as well. And that's brought rise to CX as emotions. And then 2015, give or take, depends on the country, depends on the company, we started to focus on digital transformation and taking some of our services online and allowing customers to service themselves and to sell themselves. But we need to understand and recognize something very, very critical. Throughout the process, the main focus of customer experience have always been cost-driven. Even though we measured NPS and so on and so forth, we ultimately measured the cost savings. If we look at the last 20 years and who are the winners and who are the losers, we obviously created amazing awareness out there, and it is growing. Senior management is involved to a degree. We have seen some processes improved. We've seen digital transformation going on. We've seen NPS growing as a measure, and we have seen employee training taking place. But I think that some of the big losers or some of the big misses here is that we are not really owning a financial driver in the organization. If we as CX professionals compete against the VP of sales, we will lose every day because he can bring more business, and we are not measured on business. We are measured on something else. We're not owning retention. We're not owning a clear ROI for the organization. And while digital transformation is doing some great work for us, we're also seeing the digital transformation is accelerating the erosion of the differentiation, because if it's available online and I service myself as a customer, it's very easy for me to compare the services and get just the cheapest price. So while we have created a great awareness and we made some progress on process, we've definitely got some issues when it comes to the elements of how do we become a financially driven discipline within the organization? How can we be measured against those financial elements? If we don't, that's probably the reason why Forrester earlier this year, before COVID, already forecasted that 1 in 4 CX professionals may not have a job at the end of the year. Because again, if we are not contributing to the business in a business sense, then we need to challenge ourselves to find a way how to do that. In my last book, Next is Now, I discussed the new competitive advantage of organization, which I called change resilience, the scope and the speed in which we adapt to change. And unfortunately or fortunately, COVID became the biggest test for organizations' change resilience. Some of them have been resilient and changed much faster, and others were a little bit more struggling. In the book, I discuss an interesting topic. If you ever look at the top grossing movies in the world, the top movies in terms of revenue, you will always find about 5 to 6 of them that are superheroes. Superman, Aquaman, Hulk, whatever your superhero. But it seems like the world is obsessed with superheroes. And I was trying to figure out What is so obsessive about superheroes? And I discovered the following. For some people, superheroes is the assurance that change will not happen because it will always come and cleaning up. If you've ever seen Superman, you know that since 80 years ago when it was written until now, there are no new gadgets that Superman got. He's using the same exact powers that he had 80 years ago. However, for some people, superheroes is an inspiration to rise up. It's an inspiration to visit and become the better version of themselves. And I too have a superhero that I love, but unfortunately, I cannot show you the movie that was made about my superhero because my superhero did not deserve a movie yet. My superhero, let me introduce to you, is Captain Apathy. This is my superhero. Let me tell you something about him. He graduated the same school as Superman. He has all the capabilities of Superman, but he failed the motivation class. So he has all the capabilities, but no motivation. And guess what? He didn't rise up. For many of us, this gentleman might be the picture of how our customers look like during lockdown in COVID-19. Some people think that customers just became very passive, and let's face it, in reality, we lost a lot of our autonomy. We lost a lot of hope. We're living in uncertain times. But I would challenge you that actually what COVID have done to us is actually accelerated the superhero of our customers. Our customers have accelerated their innovation when it comes to usage of digital. And today they're not just doing digital, they are digital. Our customers got time and empower themselves with a purpose. What we have seen with Black Lives Matters around the world as a support is a demonstration that people are more connected to their purpose than ever before. They had time to reflect and they put their values first. They also surprised themselves with the creativity around self-sustaining and resilience. They've reinvented themselves. They've done things that they've never thought they'll do before. They all of a sudden take care of things at the house that they have not paid attention to. And as brands who are trying to sell to them and connect with them and engage with them, we also discovered that they had enough time to discover our competition. Our customers today are more aware than ever before about their choices. And they are exploring different choices. They are going to different places. They are not just staying loyal as we have done before. So when we look at the post-COVID-19 consumers, we have seen an acceleration of empowerment and an acceleration of individuality powered by digital tools and by the options available to them. And we cannot look at the customer pre-COVID and post-COVID like it's the same customer. Some things, however, would probably not going to change. Our customers remain empowered in the sense of they're expecting us to find the path to yes. This is the definition that I used in the past for customer experience, and I believe it's true today more than ever before. The answer is yes. What is the question? When the customers are coming to us, especially now when they are more self-resilient, they are more self-sufficient, and they're asking us for help, we better find the answer to yes. They don't need to hear maybe, they don't need to hear no, they don't need to hear I'll check into it. The answer is yes. What is the question? That is going to be the new bar. And I'm going to share with you a small story that always inspired me. When I work with organizations around transforming themselves to become customer-centric, the answer is yes. What is the question? Is oftentimes the approach that we used. And as I've shared with you, I believe in my last presentation, Mercedes-Benz was one of our biggest clients. Customers are very demanding. But you know what? Even if you're a Mercedes, oftentimes the answer is no. It's not what you want it to be. And there was a case when a customer showed up at one of the dealerships, and she was visibly anxious. She had a flat tire, and she needed a resolution right away. But unfortunately, the tire that she needed, the replacement tire, was not available in inventory. It was a snow day. The dealership did not have any other cars to give her, and the answer was no, we don't have the tire. We need to order it. Until then, I'm sorry, we can't do anything. And the service advisor noticed that she's very, very anxious. And he said to her, why are you so stressed? What's wrong? And she said to him, you know, I promised my 9-year-old son that I'll be in his soccer game in 2 hours. I have to be there. I promised it to him. Now it became a personal thing. Now he connected to the human side of the situation. And he had to ask himself, what can I do? How can I find this tire? And he discovered that when he wanted to focus on the answer is yes, what is the question? He found the tire. The tire was available on a car in the showroom. And he took the technician, they removed the tire from the car or in the showroom, left it without a tire, went and installed it for her and sent her on her way. She started to cry, positive crying, of course. And she said, no one ever did it for me. And that is the essence, ladies and gentlemen, of our challenge. In the past, we sold our customers products and we thought that that was sufficient. As we evolved over time, we improved our processes and we thought that was a great deal. In the last couple of years, we differentiated based on emotions and based on humanity and based on compassion. We wanted to delight our customers. And guess what? In the past, it was a differentiator. But now, after COVID, when the customers have seen that you're capable of mass level of humanity and delight and emotions and compassion, guess what just happened? It becomes part of the expectations. Humanity and emotions are no longer going to be a differentiator. They're going to be the expectations moving forward. That's another impact that COVID-19 is affecting us, and that's another thing that will affect the definition of customer experience moving forward. Where we are right now facing the challenge, the opportunity, and the differentiation is in being able to connect to the purpose of what they do and why they do it. Especially after the empowerment of COVID-19 that some of them are facing, they're looking for partners that can actually help them accomplish, not just complete a transaction, but accomplish life accomplishments, long-term accomplishments, and not just quick completions of transactions. That's what I call the empower to exceed. It's no longer about being emotionally kind to them. It's no longer about digital help. It's the science and art of creating customer accomplishments. They want to be the Supermans that they discovered during COVID-19 that they can be, and we need to be there to be the cape, to be the superpower that can actually make the difference for them. So as we look at the evolution moving forward, as I said to you, I'm concerned about digital transformation. While on one side, it's making things accessible and easy to the customers to use, on the other side, it is actually reducing the value because we are practically outsourcing sales and marketing and service to the customer. And we are putting it on a platform where the customers can compare very easily to other brands. So the question is, where is the new value? Where is going to be the new value that's going to differentiate us? Otherwise, we're practically eroding our differentiation and going straight into a price competition. My belief is that the next 10 years are going to be about value creation, not about cost reduction. And it's going to start with CX, with extreme personalization, and then shift towards CX driven by you. And let me explain what I mean by that. CX as an extreme personalization means using anticipatory tools such as artificial intelligence and otherwise to actually create a sense for the customer that the product that they're getting or the service they're getting was crafted especially for them, only for them, based on who they are. The next level after that will be when our customers become their own brands, and I think they are right on their way with social media and their own presence on Instagram and other platforms, where they will come to us and say, I have a dream. How can you become the helpful toolkit to help me get there? So we will shift from extreme personalization to consumer as brands, and what will drive it is a combination of deeper understanding of who they are, what they stand for as individuals, not as segments. And second, the production ability, and 3D printing might be accelerating that as well, to basically create it uniquely for them the way they want to. What does it mean to us? First and foremost, we need to revise our vision. And I had a conversation with a CMO recently, and she said to me, why do I need to revise my vision? My vision is great. And I said, yes, your vision is great in the context of a transaction, of completing tasks. It is not great in the context of long-term relationships. Because let's take a look at this. You actually have customers using you twice and then dropping your products. They're not obsessive about your product. They're just casually using it, which is not what you want to do. And she realized that their vision is actually failing to inspire customers for the long run. They might be inspiring them for the short run, but it's not a long-term relationship. As COVID have happened, we need to start looking for the changes. Listen not for what we want to hear, but what really changed among our customers. We need to reassess our journey and think about how do we design a journey that is dynamic, that is anticipatory, that is providing extreme personalization. We need to design to empower them to achieve and accomplish things and measure the accomplishments, not just measure the participation. We need to help our employees learn how to exceed expectations, because that's going to be another front where they're going to be differentiating. We need to learn to work with agility, not just during the design of the process, but during the execution of our process. Because the essence of Empower to Exceed is we're going to have to be different things to different customers. So agility is moving from design to execution. We need to manage the dynamic relationship, and we need to measure the accomplishments. How many stories have we created? How many empowerments have we created? How many happy customers we created in the sense of their accomplishments as opposed to in the sense of completion? When we look at the new toolkit, as I said, anticipation is going to be the critical piece, and we're going to have to use a combination of humanity and artificial intelligence in order to understand the total vision of our customers as they see it, as they're willing to share it, and then be agile and adaptable to create for each one of them exactly what they want. We need to learn to augment their desires, be there 24/7, and always be relevant for them. And at the end of the day, again, create accomplishments. We're not there just to complete tasks. We're there to make sure that they've actually felt and experienced a sense of accomplishment. One of the biggest changes I believe that's going to happen moving forward, because of the investment required in anticipatory and in extreme personalization, and make no mistake, it will come with a certain investment, is the notion of not measuring bottom up, but measuring top bottom. Imagine you're a bank and you have 10% of your customers purchasing 8 products from you, and then you have 90% of your customers purchasing 1 product. When a customer steps into a branch or goes online and purchases a product, is that a success or a failure? When you measure value, you may say it's a success, I sold the product. When you look at customer potential maximization, you may look at it as a failure, because there are 7 rejections to 1 success. And when we're going to look at extreme personalization and focusing on customers in the future and being a financially driven participant in the organization, we are not going to look at the initial purchase as usually sales does, but we're going to look at initial purchase plus future purchase plus number of years we can conduct business plus cross-sell to product to complete product portfolio. And then we deduct from it cost of acquisition and service as well as relationship management. That's when your total customer potential is. I'm working with a consumer products organization, and we found out that the average transaction they have with the customer is about 199 euros. But when we look at the complete customer potential, it was 3,000 euros. But no one actually looked at it from a bottom up, saying the moment a customer joined our family, there's a 3,000 euros over the next 3 years budget that we need to work with them. Relationship maintenance is a new concept that we introduced to clients, where we actually said, you need to invest deliberately in celebrating with customers and making sure they are reaching accomplishments. And that is an investment against the future total potential, as opposed to against the 1 transaction that you've done. This is going to be the future in which we will be measuring the relationship that we have. It helps us become a financially driven discipline within the organization. We can compete against sales and marketing very, very successfully. And we're actually forging relationships that are profitable and not just passionate with our customers. When we look at it in the overall context, as I said, I want you to imagine we are there, and the biggest change is going to be is we're not there when you ask us for what you want, but we are actually going to be there before you ask us. And the power of artificial intelligence can help us create that vision that we had for quite some time of a one-to-one relationship of a relationship of a customer of one, and actually create customers who feel accomplished when they are working with you, not just completing tasks and transactions. The challenge, our customers are rising up. They are becoming the superhero. The way they handled COVID-19, each and every one of us can take from that experience. We have become those superheroes. That's the trajectory that they will continue to be on. Each and every one of them will have different accomplishments that they want to accomplish using the same exact product sometimes. Our challenge for us will be to be there for them when they need it, with what they need, at the time they need, but before they even ask. Our challenge will be, how do we help them exceed their expectations? The question each and every one of you as a customer experience professional needs to be, how do we rise up to the accomplishment domain and away from the completion domain? We're not in the transaction business. We need to be in the extreme personalization and invite our customers to exceed their own expectations by our own empowerment of products and services. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck on the Congress today, and thank you for inviting me.